Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about how to do a free background check in the state of New York. So to get started, visit newyorkpublicrecords.org. Now, I'll have a link in the description. You can click on that or just type it into your browser. I just wanted to mention this video is going to talk about just general background checking that everyday people can do in their everyday lives. So like nothing too specific. I'll just show you how you can utilize some of these databases here, and also how what options you have to do something like a criminal check, and what free resources you have available to you in New York. So it's a two-step process. So let's see here how you can utilize the public records here. For example, let's say you're planning a big project in your house, say like a remodeling job, and you're about to put up quite a bit of money for it, and you want to make sure that the contractor that you hired is a decent one. Now this, you could research just about anybody. It doesn't have to be a contractor, just anybody that has potentially a license, a business. If there's some money on the line, maybe there's individuals that need to be checked out just because they're taking care of somebody. Whatever it may be, you have lots of different databases you can use to verify this information. So I'm going to just, as an example, use a contractor. So you can check his contractor's license. You can look him up by name or his business name, make sure everything is legit. You can see how long he's had it for. Is he paying all the time? Is there any late payments with the renewals? Things like that. So it can kind of let you know, like, is this person experienced? Is he taking care of his bills? Like things like that. So that could tell a story. Another thing you could look up are also business records, and all you need is you could search just by a business name here. Make sure the business actually exists. Make sure it's it's not expired. It's been paid for, and there's no issues with the state regarding the business. Kind of like just give yourself a peace of mind. Another thing you can do is you could use court records, and the court records you could maybe specifically look for civil types of lawsuits, maybe financial related lawsuits to the work. Maybe you want to make sure there's no vendors, for instance, suing the contractor or the business. Maybe previous clients aren't suing him for some negligence or some shoddy work or something like that. So you could definitely utilize the court record system to research this information on a business or an individual. And so before you hand over that large sum of money for the remodeling job, you can do a quick background check. So that's one way of using this website. Now I'm going to get to the criminal side. Obviously, pretty much any type, there's so many different types of background checks for many different situations, but pretty much the hands down the criminal record is probably like the backbone of just about any background check. And so we're going to go over the resources you have in the state of New York that you can use for free to look into someone's background. And I just want to make a quick disclosure. It's unlike other states in New York, it's really difficult to get this information, even court records. Usually in a lot of places, it's really easy to just use court records to do this. New York makes it slightly more difficult, and you'll see what I mean once we get into how to use the court records to research criminal information. So if you hover over other records, click on inmate search. Let's start with that. And so every criminal record, starts pretty much with an arrest. So say maybe the police department or the sheriff's department arrests somebody and they charge him with a crime. It doesn't mean that they're guilty yet. They will have to go see a judge. But nonetheless, a arrest record is created. And so you are actually able to, most counties, like a local sheriff's department, will provide a database online. Not all of them will, but some do. And you can look this information up. If they don't provide a database, you can also submit a public records request if you choose to do so, if that's if that's something important to you. But you do have certain, like for instance, this is one of the bigger databases, and all you need is just a first name and a last name here. And it actually covers multiple counties, so it's one of the big databases. And then you have individual counties that take care of their own database. So this one is definitely going to be a big one here, and just a first name and a last name, and you're able to research information for free of charge. So after the arrest happens, they will have to go to court. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on court records here. And as you can see, the New York State court system, you have anything from the Court of Appeals to family. And each of these courts does their own job. They deal with specific types of cases. So in the example of family, you have family, juvenile, domestic relations. So if this is the type of record you want to research, maybe you want to see if somebody's divorced, things like that, this is the court database you want to research. And then you have district, which deals, for instance, since we're on the topic of criminal records, you have district court that does lower level crimes. City will also deal with lower level crimes. County will do higher level crimes like felonies and things like that. Also, you have a couple other courts here, courts of New York City. Also, they deal with some of the lower level crimes. And you have Supreme Court that does juvenile cases and a few other things in there. And so you do have a couple of different databases. And one of the major ones is going to be the web criminal. They call it the web criminal. And you can research this information by the defendant's name. Now, there is a limit to what this does. It is a free search. The public can come in and research this for free. But the limit is this. This is the limit. So web criminal provides information on criminal cases with future appearance dates. So once the case is over, you won't find it in this database anymore. And so that's a very limiting factor right there. But as long as it's still ongoing and there needs to be a future date, you can research this information. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how it works. Just to show you that, show you all the possible free ways that you can, since the video is about free databases, all the possible ways that you can, let's just put a generic name here. You can select all courts, or you can select a particular area. And as you can see, we have, here's one for a criminal court here. And I just picked a random person, so I'm not picking on anybody here. So you have a date, you have an incident date, you have the arresting department here. Also on the side here, you can select different tabs here, like appearances. So this is, they've showed, one time they were already showed up to court. There's a second appearance here that's pending. You can look at the charges and motions. So as you can see, I did not have to use a credit card or pay for this. This is a completely free database available in the state of New York. But like I said, it does have its limits. So now let's say after court, somebody gets either a guilty or no guilty verdict. Sometimes if they're guilty, they might just pay a fine. If it's for a more serious crime, they will have to serve some time. So if it's under 12 months, they're typically going to serve at this time at like a local county, prison, typically managed by the sheriff's department or maybe by the city police. But if it's for a more serious offense, it requires more than 12 months of time, they will do that at the prison, at a prison, and that's managed by the Department of Corrections and Community Supervision. So that's a state of New York agency that manages all the prisons within the state. And so they also have a database here, and I'm just going to show you how and this is free again, and we can just let's look at somebody that's still okay. Looks like everybody has been released. Okay, here's one in custody. So you're able to look at individuals that are in custody, and as you can see, you have some identifying information. You have the crime that they were convicted of, and then you have your sentence information. So pretty detailed page, again, completely free. And then you have, let's look at somebody that's been discharged here. Okay, so this one has been discharged, and as you can see, these records are actually pretty old. Like most background checks will go back 7-10 years. This person was actually received in 1983, so this information is quite old. So it's a great database to use. Of all the databases out there that are available for free, this could be a great one. At least it covers like some of those major crimes, so typically over a year if you're serving over a year. So something of consideration definitely to use when you're trying to do a free background check. And again, you have your crimes of conviction and then your sentencing information. So there you go. One more database that you should look into is the sex offender database. And again, this one you can search with name, you can search by county, zip code. You have quite a few options. Also an important database to look into when you're looking at criminal records. And it's a statewide database for free. So there you go. I just went over some of the basics, some of the free resources you have in the state of New York. If you want to do a quick background check, you can also, again, I spoke about the public record databases that you can also research when it comes to just everyday life. If you just want to do a quick lookup and make sure everything is legit and give yourself a peace of mind. So you have one more option here, and that's the name search on top. Now, this isn't a free database. And what it does is it pulls records, public records, court records, property records, criminal arrest information, financial records, things like bankruptcies, maybe financial lawsuits. It has access to private databases, so like cell phone records, previous addresses, things like that. But it doesn't just pull records from the state of New York, it goes outside the state. So, for example, if somebody has a criminal background, criminal records, let's say in Pennsylvania or Michigan, and now they're living in New York, if you're just researching level at the county level, at the state level in New York, you're not necessarily going to see what happened in Pennsylvania and Michigan. And so a database that gives you more of a nationwide look, it will give you an opportunity to see previous addresses, records that could potentially be in another state. And it kind of helps you to make sure you got your bases covered and you have more information available to you to make good decisions. So with that said, visit NewYorkPublicRecords.org. Come on down and get started on your free background check in New York. Thank you.